everybody, Crafting Journey here, that Journey chick over on Instagram. I'm dressed to go to work. Gotta go to work. Work, work, work. Oh yeah. Not that excited. Gotta tell you. Oh man. I'm gonna say that, the first month of recovery from the knee surgery was pretty brutal. Lots of pain. But this last couple of weeks have just been such a joy. I could diamond paint, watercolor, crochet, but it doesn't pay the bills. So today I'm going to crochet during the show. Here's what I'm working on. I went through my stash. I'm like, I'm going to get rid of my stash. And I found this Sundance Whirlwind, and I had to look it up to see where it was from. Hirschner's. I didn't know. So Sundance Whirlwind, super pretty. It's a 5-weight. And I thought, I've got 3 skeins of it. I don't know why I have 3 skeins of it, but I'm going to make a blanket. So, I know what you're thinking. Yes, that's not enough. Yeah. So we're about 1.5 skeins in. Yeah. And this is what I got so far. And it's more of a full size, I didn't want to go crazy with the size. Just enough to cover me up. I don't need to cover up the dogs. But after going through skein number 1, I quickly realized I don't have enough yarn for a blanket. So, of course, I ordered 4 more from Hirschner's. But I want to say, no, they did not have a deal on shipping, but I think I got this on sale. So, I'm okay. Gosh, more yarn. I thought I was getting rid of yarn, and yeah. Anyway. You have to go 4 steps forward to get 3 steps. I don't know. So, yeah. So much for getting rid of the yarn. Don't tell my sister. Don't tell her. And then I got in the mail some yarn that I'm going to make her a blanket with. I can show you. Hold on. You're like, why a blanket? Because it's really easy to sit in bed at night and crochet a blanket because you're just, doing the same thing over and over again. But I wanted to do waffle stitch with this one. I hope I have enough yarn to do a waffle stitch. This is the yarn. It's Red Heart. Let me open it up. It was on sale. Red Heart Super Saver. And it is 236 yards. It's called Aspen Print. And my sister really likes, it's a 4-weight. It's a really light 4-weight. But she likes green. So here's the print that I got her. So I'm going to do the waffle stitches. We'll see how far we get. She's like, I want a queen size. I'm like, queen size? Yeah, no. I didn't buy enough yarn for a king size. Yeah. I'll make you one this size. We'll see. If I have to order more, I'll order more. Okay, so I got 10 skeins of that. So that's, 300? So 3,000 yards. That should be enough. For, this size blanket, like a full. We'll see. She thinks I crochet faster than I do. Really, I'm not that fast. Some people are, but I'm not. Anyway, don't forget to hit the like button today. He's going to work with me just to help me with my anxiety. Just like he's going to calm me down if I need to be calmed down. Yeah, so thank you, like button. Hit him on the way in or out of the show today. And please consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. And don't forget, when you hit the notification bell, you have to go all. There's a little all button. Make sure you hit all. Okay, there you go. This is Crafting and Crime Daily, and I understand there is a new trial getting underway today. At least Court TV is going to cover it. I don't know about Long Crime. They haven't really said what they're still reeling from the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing, The case is, well, I'll tell you about it when we get to that segment. But first, you know who says that a lot? Julie Chen. But first, yeah, that reminds me of Big Brother, which starts July 6th. I can't wait. Love that show. Jen always watches with me. DP Addiction Adventures. Big Brother, July 6th. I don't know if she watches this show. I think she does sometimes. Anyway, but first, what national day is it? My mind just goes blank. Okay, what national day it is? It is National Drive-In Movie Day. Oh my gosh, do you remember drive-in movies? We have one here in town. It's only open certain months of the year. And it's just like this little corner lot. And I've not been there. I've driven past there. And they've got, 3-4 screens. But I remember, like, when I lived in Florida, there was the Thunderbird swap shop. It was a swap shop during the week. And then on the weekend, it was drive-in movies. So we would go there a lot. But I remember in high school, I was living in Orlando. We would go to these drive-in movies. Like, remember you would, because you had to pay by how many people were in your car. So everybody would like duck down and hide. So you'd only have to pay for the driver. They would be in the back of the truck. We'd go in trucks because I lived in this my high school was very redneck. Everybody had a truck. So you'd hide in the back of the truck. The drive it, they knew you were doing it. So then, you pull up to your space and everybody pops out and you go get your popcorn. And yeah, first you had those horrible things the speaker things that you had to put on your car, and they never worked right. But then you could tune into your radio. So then it got to be where everybody could sit in their lawn chairs in the back of the truck and watch the movie. And then we would try to watch more than one movie. Like when the movie was over, we'd try to sneak over to a different different screen. I don't know how we got away with it, but we did. Yeah. Anyway. So there are still drive-ins around, but, there's certain times of the year where you just would sweat your balls off. So you just didn't go at times of the year. Mosquitoes and heat and yeah. So you had to pick a night that was pretty mild weather-wise, because that was in Florida. Now here, I don't know what the season is for this drive-in theater here. When it's open, when it's not. But yeah, they're still around. So tell me, what's the craziest thing you did at the drive-in theater? Did you go with your boyfriend and get your first kiss? The that kind of thing at the drive-in. Like, drive-ins were dangerous because you were in cars and nobody could see what the heck you were doing. At least we thought nobody could see. Yeah. So I hope this sounds okay. I didn't put the headphones on today, but I do have the microphone on. So, let me know how the sound is. Anyway, what else? So this was also a way to get all the kids out of the house, put them all in the back of the car and just take them to the drive-in, and then you could enjoy the movie and the kids could like play or do whatever. So the first drive-in movie is said to be credited to Richard Hollingshead Jr., and that opened in June 6th, this day in history, June 6th, 1933. So the screen that he had was 40 by 50 feet, and there were 400 car slots. The advertising slogan used was "The whole family's welcome, regardless of how noisy the children are." The first movie shown was Wife Beware. Ooh, that sounds creepy. The idea caught on quickly, and drive-ins began to pop up in other areas too. By the late 1950s, there were approximately 4,000 drive-ins in the United States. Do they have that, the equivalent of that in other countries? Do you guys have drive-in movies in other countries? I'm curious. I would think so, but I don't know. Now, it says that Long Island, New York was credited with the largest drive-in movie theater. It had 29 acres and could park 2,500 vehicles. It hosted a full-service restaurant with rooftop seating, a trolley system to take children and adults to the playground, and a large indoor theater in case of bad weather. That's nice. I don't know if that's still there. Is that still there, Narita? Is that still there in Long Island? Copiague, Long Island, New York. Copiague, Long Island, New York. However, the invention of color television, VCRs, and video rentals, along with increase in land values and the widespread adoption of daylight savings time, led to a sharp decline in the drive-in popularity. Yeah, because it's light outside now till after 9 o'clock. So who wants to go to a drive-in movie that late at night, I totally understand. When are we going to get rid of daylight savings time? We hate it. We hate it. So how do you celebrate? Find a drive-in movie, get a carload of your friends, and go. Yeah. I'm going to opt out of that. I just, for some reason, whatever's in the theaters, we can watch here at home. They're only in the theaters exclusively for a very short period of time, maybe a week or two, and then you can watch it on HBO. Yeah. My sister was watching a movie last night. I'm like, what? I thought that was in the theater. She goes, well, not anymore. I'm like, oh, okay. It was that Harry Potter one. It wasn't Harry Potter, but it was, it was Dumbledore, something with Dumbledore. I don't know. I don't follow a lot of Harry Potter, but it was that genre. So let's talk about Crafting and Crime Daily. So what is this new trial? I don't know if it's hard to cover court TV because they cut in, there's advertising, there's commentary. It's very disjointed when court TV covers a trial. But if Long Crime covers the same trial, which I suspect they probably will, this is a woman who's on trial for murdering her husband, and this is down in, come on, 3 guesses. What state do you think it happened in? Of course, Florida. Florida. Yeah, the woman, he's an MBA executive. She calls 911. Of course, we're going to get to hear the 911 tape, and she's like, she finds her husband dead. Oh, I think he had a heart attack. Well, come to find out, they had an argument the night before, and I can't wear this ring when I'm crocheting. Come to find out, they had an argument the night before. She stabbed him, and then cleans up the house, cleans up all the blood, changes his clothes, and then calls 911. 11 hours later, calls 911. And here's the part that's interesting. Her mother used to be married to him. She died of cancer in 1999, and then afterwards, she fell in love with him. They fell in love and got married, and they had been married for 17 years. That is pretty creepy. So that she married her stepfather, or the stepfather married his stepdaughter. That's so creepy. Oh, yeah. Ooh, that makes my skin crawl. Anyway, so I don't know how the defense is going to spin this whole thing, but it doesn't sound very defensible to me. And apparently the guy would tell his friends, oh, yeah, we get into arguments a lot, but, just take the steak knives away from her and I'll be okay. And, of course, what did she use to kill him? Steak knives. Or knives in the kitchen. Oh, my God. Crazy, huh? So that's the trial that I hope is going to go on today. So I have another story for you, though. There was 2 women that went missing in LA. One of them was Christina Giles. She is a model, was a model. She grew up in Alabama. She played soccer. She played soccer so well that she would play on the boys' team, and they offered her, she had a chance to play professionally, and she had a choice between a professional soccer player and model, and she chose being a model. So she goes to live in LA. She's a model, very successful model. And I'll show you a picture of her here. Then she has this friend who is a designer, Hilda Arzola. Now, she and Hilda decide they're going to go out partying one night. Now, Christina is married. I guess her husband was out of town. So she and her friend decide they're going to go out to this party. They start out in one place and they end up at another place where it was a warehouse party. It was literally in a warehouse. And they end up leaving the party and going to this apartment complex. And the last text that Christina sent was to her friend, Azolo, saying, let's get out of here. And the friend saying she's calling for a ride. And there was an Uber that was called that was sat out there for a while, and no one ever came out. So, and that was the last text that's actually the last time that Christina Giles checked her phone. So, several hours later, about 5:45 p.m., many hours later, she is dropped off by three men in dark clothing, with handkerchief, very hiding their identity, because of course, there were surveillance cameras that picked up the whole transaction. They pulled up in a Prius and dumped her body on a sidewalk in front of this hospital, and she was dead. Then, several hours later, they dump the other girl's body in front of a different hospital that's 11 miles away, and she was also dead, but they were able to revive her. She stayed alive for a short period of time until the family decided she had significant brain damage. So both women were sexually assaulted. This was all determined on autopsy, and they had lethal doses of drugs in their system. Yeah, lots of different drugs, cocaine, but not the least of which was GHB, which is a date rape drug, which is probably what happened to these girls. So, whose apartment were they at? Well, it was this guy named David Pierce, who apparently is very well known in LA, hangs out with Ron Jeremy. Well, Ron Jeremy's in jail right now. I don't know if you guys remember Ron Jeremy. He's the old porn guy. The original porno films was, Ron Jeremy. So, although he looks like hell right now. I mean, he doesn't look like he did back in the day. But, so he's been hanging out with Ron Jeremy. And he's apparently well known, this David Pierce. He's bad news, that women that have dated him have said, no, don't hang out with him. He's a horrible person. So this was his apartment. So the police they finally figure out that they figure out who the two other males were. I'm just reading you from the LA Times. Los Angeles detectives soon figured out that the men, one was a small-time actor. He was actually arrested on the set of one of his shows. And the other, a hanger-on to Hollywood fringes, had been lying when they claimed to have found the woman passed out on a curb. So what they did was they actually took Christina into the hospital and said that they found her laying on the curb in front of the hospital. Yeah. One was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter, while the other and a third friend were arrested on suspicion of being accessories to the crime. The two men arrested as alleged accessories were released from jail, but the man at the center of the case, David Pierce, remains in custody charged with raping or assaulting 4 women before he ever met Giles and Azola. I'm telling you, this guy was bad news. So even if they couldn't pin this, the murders of Christina Giles and her friend, they had him on so many other things because people started coming forward at this point. He's accused of drugging, then assaulting each of the women while they were incapacitated. Yeah. Ugh, bad news. So they seized everybody's electronics. So they're supposedly on some of the electronics that they seized is actual video of what occurred in that apartment. So if this ever goes to trial, you better believe I'm covering it. The trial of David Pierce, because that's going to be a good one. Yeah, but these, don't go partying in East LA. Yeah, not a good idea. So be careful who you run into. Well, anywhere, be careful who you run into. Of course, these women were known to try recreational drugs, but this went way beyond recreational drugs. Yeah. And I mean, how do you define a recreational drug? Is cocaine recreational as opposed to heroin, which apparently is not recreational? I'm sure GHB is not recreational. No, you wouldn't legitimately take GHB. That's something they slip to you. The men slip to you to make you unconscious. Well, so the night of this was November 12th, 2021. Giles and her friend Azola went to an art studio where Giles used cocaine and ketamine and smoked marijuana. Now, these apparently are recreational. A friend told police, according to the affidavit written by LAPD Detective Jonathan Vanderlee. From there, they went to an industrial stretch of East LA. Now, this is where you should not go, apparently, where a rave was being held in a brick building that is usually used to store cars. Vanderlee wrote, they got to the venue at 1:10 a.m. Then they have surveillance video of 3 men, which is David Pierce, Brant Olson, and Michael Ansbach, arrive about 2 hours later. They had come from a lounge in Koreatown. A friend told police en route to the rave, Pierce pulled out a large bag of cocaine and the men all snorted some. Pierce's attorney described him in court papers as a freelance entertainment planner who lives paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck, wow. Not long after arriving, Pierce met Azola, who had become separated from Giles. They posed together for a nightlife photographer roaming the party. At 4:21 a.m., Azola texted Giles, "Do you want coke?" Giles wrote back that she did. "Where are you?" "I'm in the kitchen. Let's do a line." A friend of the women told police he saw Pierce give both women what looked like cocaine. Video from the security camera showed the 2 women leave the rave with Pierce, Ansbach, and Osborne in Osborne's Hyundai. Vanderlee wrote, they got to Pierce and Osborne's second-story apartment on Olympic Boulevard at 5:11 a.m. 20 minutes later, Giles texted her friend, "Let's go," adding a wide eye emoji. And her friend wrote back, "Yes, I'll call the Uber." A car pulled up in front of the apartment at 5:45 a.m. and then left after waiting 5 minutes, according to the video from security cameras on a nearby building. One glaring fact is that both Giles and Azola wanted to leave Pierce's residence, as is evident by their texts, and called an Uber. The next time they are seen, they are dead. Between 10:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. downstairs, neighbors heard the sounds of someone in pain and moaning on and off coming from the upstairs. They were too scared to call the police. They knew this guy was bad news, and they didn't want him on their bad side. So at 4:19 p.m., cameras recorded Pierce carrying Giles downstairs to where his black Toyota Prius was parked with its license plates removed. He put on more clothes, a hat, mask, and hooded sweatshirt, and drove with Osborne to Southern California Medical Center in Culver City. They dropped off Giles a few minutes after 5 p.m., claiming to the staff that they were good Samaritans who had found her passed out on the curb. The men returned to the apartment, and an hour later, video showed Pierce carrying a partially clad Azola down the stairs, followed by Osborne. According to the affidavit, they brought the woman to Kaiser Hospital in Mid-City shortly after 7 a.m. Homicide detectives went to Pierce and Osborne's apartment after midnight. A visibly nervous Osborne said he had gone to a warehouse party in downtown LA, went to sleep at 6 a.m. and didn't wake up until 2 p.m. Like, I had nothing to do with it. Yep. Osborne, a 42-year-old actor, has a few credits in low-budget productions such as police officer in A Screenshot to Santa and New York Stockbroker in Obamaland Part 1, Rise of the Trump-publicans. He also had a bit part in the popular series Nurse Jackie. I'm going to want a lawyer, Osborne told him. Apparently he was also in, I think, Law and Order. He was on the set of Law and Order when they arrested him. I'm going to want a lawyer, Osborne told the detectives, then kept on talking. We came home, and I guess the girls came over, he said. I went straight to bed, and that is my God's honest truth. 2 girls. Osborne said he didn't see the women take any drugs. I didn't give them anything, okay? I don't live like that, he said. When he woke up, he saw they weren't breathing, but they were making noises. He said, I figured give them a couple hours and they'll come out of it. Don't call 911. Yeah. But it seemed like they were getting progressively worse. He didn't call an ambulance for the women because we didn't know them. He said he'd never been in this situation before, and he tried to do the right thing, but panicked, he told the detectives. He tried to do the right thing. Well, what? Okay. They didn't take Giles and Cabrales to the same hospital because we didn't know how that would look. Okay. Oh, gosh. At the end of the day, I didn't do anything wrong, and obviously I'm not going to say anything that's going to incriminate me, he said, according to the police. He went on to say that he had watched people partaking in things, and I had nothing to do with it. I just tried to make this situation, right. It's not that like there was any, foul play or anything I did, Pierce said. I didn't. Before he said anything more, he wanted to have a lawyer present. Okay, Pierce, 40, has dealt with police before. In 2014, he was arrested on suspicion of sexual assault, but prosecutors in LA District Attorney's Office declined to bring charges to him. In 2020, another woman accused Pierce of rape while she was passed out. But after Pierce was arrested in December, the district attorney's office revisited the woman's story between their allegations and the accounts of the other women who came forward after his arrest and accused him of sexual assault. Pierce is now charged with 3 counts of rape, 1 count of sexual penetration of a foreign object by force. Oh, this is horrible. This is going to be a good trial. The trial of the century. Yeah. So sad for those women. No, that Christina Giles had such a bright future. There's not a lot that I learned about her friend, except she was a designer. She had only been in the U.S. for a short period of time. Very, very sad. But it's a good thing this guy is now behind bars and off the streets of L.A. Oh, my God. What a horrible person. Okay, that's a tow truck that pulled up. I forgot my sister's starter went bad, so she's having her car towed to get the starter fixed. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the crafting and crime portion of the show. What happened this day in history? Well, on June 6th, 2013, Americans learned that their government was spying on them. Edward Snowden decided he was going to be a whistleblower and let everybody know that the government not only was spying on, foreign countries, dignitaries, things like that, they were also spying on U.S. citizens. Yep. Monitoring phone calls, text, video, of private citizens in the U.S. Yeah. So, so this Snowden guy, he fled the country, and he now has permanent asylum in Russia. Never came back to this country because he's very much wanted by the U.S. government for his disclosure of this information. The Guardian and the Washington Post posted a series of reports, and he was the leak, so to speak, that gave him this information. The material exposed a government-run surveillance program that monitored the communication records of not just criminals or potential terrorists, but law-abiding citizens as well. 3 days later, the source unmasked himself as Edward Snowden. He just outed himself. A national security agency contractor. So the question remains, was he a whistleblower or a traitor? It was revealed that the NSA was collecting and monitoring the telephone records and texts of citizens. The U.S. government was tapping into servers of 9 internet companies, including Apple, Facebook, and Google, to spy on people's audio and video chats, photographs, emails, documents, and connection logs as part of a surveillance program called PRISM. Later, it was revealed that they were spying on leaders of countries including Germany's Angela Merkel. In the same month, Snowden was charged with theft of government property, unauthorized communication of national defense information, and willful communication of classified intelligence. Ooh. But like I said, he fled the country, and he will never return. He was granted temporary asylum first in Russia, and then which was slated to end in 2020, and then in 2020 they granted him permanent residency, permanent asylum in their country. So, interesting, huh? So, I have to put down the crochet and go to work. All right, let me put my rings back on. Guys, it's been a great show today. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow in Crafting a Crime. I'll let you know how the day goes. Bye, everybody. Take care.